Hello and welcome to Celtic Roots Radio, coming to you today from Belfast, Northern Ireland. Celtic, folk, folk rock, Appalachian, bluegrass, Scottish, Irish, Breton, Cajun. If it's Celtic or roots music you like, you'll find it here on Celtic Roots Radio. What about yous? Are you keeping bravely? Welcome to the Celtic Roots Radio Show. I'm Raymond McCullough in Belfast. Well, we have great new Celtic songs and tunes, plus a wee drop of crack too, from myself. We're starting off the show today with 3 tunes from Texas USA band 5 Second Rule, Fraher's, Humours of Ballyloughlin and Christmas Eve. Our show this week is sponsored by 2 Amazon top-rated Irish books from Precious Oil Publications, ideal reading for St Patrick's Day. Firstly, there's my own, A Wee Taste of Crack, based on 24 earlier episodes of this show. And then there's A Shanachie, Tales of Old Seamus, by Jerry McCullough, a collection of 12 humorous Irish short stories set in the fictional County Donegal village of Ardnakill and featuring the yarns and escapades of that lovable rogue, Seamus. You can buy both books now in paperback from Amazon stores worldwide, or get the Kindle edition for just under $1, 77 pence in the UK. More info on our Celtic Roots Radio website, celticrootsradio.com. Check out our Celtic Roots Cafe network, where you'll find information about our artists and bands, music videos, photos, forum posts and the blog. Just click the cafe button on our main website, celticrootsradio.com. And if you like the crack on our shows, you can read it again at your leisure on our Celtic Roots Crack blog. Find it on the podcast page at celticrootsradio.com, or indeed, buy the new book. And as you're still commenting on the show, Eric Stephen Garcia in Southern California, USA, contacted us on Facebook. Love your podcast, Raymond. I once worked at an Irish pub in San Francisco, and when I left, I've missed the Irish people for the last 4 years. Your podcast brings back great memories. Thank you, Raymond. And Zoe Swaim from Maine, USA, also contacted us on Facebook. Love the podcast. My 3-year-old son and I were dancing around the kitchen while making dinner and listening. Then he started making his trucks dance. Well, thanks Eric, I'm glad we bring back good memories, and Zoe, I hope we keep on making you dance. Keep in touch with us through email, Facebook message, Twitter or our cafe site, and do go to your local iTunes store and review the show for us. Drop us a wee email to let us know in case we miss it. You'll find all of our podcasts on iTunes. Just enter Raymond McCullough into the search box. And remember, in between our podcast shows, you can listen to Celtic Roots Radio all day long, complete with all the crack from myself, on our 24/7 Live 365 station. We've just added a whole lot of new tracks for you. You'll find that on our website too.
Disappointed by this modern living, no one listens. isolated like we're living on islands and nothing's missing. I feel like I could use some time away, and I'd bring you too, but I know you will stay. I don't want to wait around until summer. If I delay another day of wonder, and you won't see me on my holiday, and I won't see you in my far-off gaze, and you won't see me on my holiday. I'll be avoiding all the followaways, and you won't see me on my holiday. And you won't see me on my holiday.
That was My Holiday from Prattle on Rick, an anagram of Pat Rickleton, in Tennessee, USA. On the last show I was describing how, many years ago, my father had sowed grass seed with a device called an arrow fiddle. Just the other night, I was with some friends in a wee pub called Paddy's Barn in Sewell, County Down, and there, hanging up from the ceiling rafters, was a perfect example of one of these devices, which I haven't seen in over 50 years. It's a small world, eh? That got me to thinking of another event from way back, which my father had told me about. I'll tell you about it in a minute. First, a wee bit of background. I was brought up in County Down, as I've said before, but I went to school in Lisburn, which is mainly in County Antrim. The two counties are separated by the River Lagan, which flows from Slieve Croob, a hill in County Down near Ballyloughlin, firstly west through Dromore, then north east to Lisburn and through Belfast into Belfast Loch, dividing East Belfast off from the rest of the city. There's a beautiful Irish song, My Lagan Love, the air made famous by Horslips as Fantasia, and the ballad itself has been covered by the Corrs, Celtic Women, Phil Coulter and a whole lot of others. The southeastern part of the city of Lisburn is across the Union Bridge over the Lagan and is usually referred to by locals as over in the County Down. Just downstream from the bridge is what's known as the Island, a bend in the river below a weir, which was cut off by a section of canal and a lock. This was once completely occupied by the old Island Spinning Mill, which eventually became derelict. It's now the site of the new Island Arts Centre, a venue for concerts, art exhibitions and all sorts of events. The Lagan Navigation, as it was called, was begun in 1756 to connect Belfast Loch with Loch Ness, the large inland lake which borders 5 of the 6 northern counties. When my father was an apprentice in what was later Barber Threads, formerly the Linen Thread Company, he can remember the horse-drawn canal barges known as lighters, delivering coal from the docks in Belfast to power the machinery in the mill. The lighters also carried sand and bricks from Loch Ness back down to Belfast. The canal has been in disuse since 1958, with the M1 motorway being built along 8 miles of the canal basin in the mid-1960s. The tidal section of the Lagan through the city of Belfast became navigable again in 1994 when a new Lagan Weir was completed. This keeps the water level upstream at a fairly constant level by raising and lowering 5 gates, which can also protect from floods during extremely high tides. You can enter the enclosed basin for an hour or two either side of high tide, so we have taken our boat, Warrior Maid, up through Belfast Harbour and into the basin, mooring it overnight at Donegal Quay, right next to the city centre, and also upstream at Stranmillis at Cutter's Wharf Pub, which is as far as you can go upriver at the moment. There are plans, though, to reopen the whole navigation in the near future. This is Michael Tanenbaum from Hawaii, USA, and a tune called Upcountry Boogie.
Girlisha girly, ho hoo oh hoo oh, hurdy oh hoo oh oh he oh he oh, me torach me tram, ho hoo oh hoo oh, hurdy oh hoo oh he oh he oh, now only Balach mo tram, ho hoo oh hoo oh, hurdy oh hoo oh he oh he oh. Passion last get a gown, ho hoo oh, hurdy oh he oh he oh, merk vi vaden an lang, ho hoo hurdy oh he oh he oh, passion edig na sein, ho hurdy oh he oh he oh, hurdy oh he oh he oh. Girly, ho hoo oh, hurdy oh he oh he oh, girl that down a nick nil, ho hurdy oh he oh he oh, me do lock me down, ho hurdy oh he oh he oh, me go beer lock bean, ho gun call, ho hurdy oh he oh he oh, me must know no gun crying, ho hurdy oh he oh he oh, girl the sugarly, ho hurdy oh he oh he oh, hurdy oh he oh he oh.
That was Kyle Carey from Rhode Island, USA, and a Gaelic love song, Gael Isha Gilly. We've taken 3 trips in all from Grimsport, where our boat is moored, round to Belfast, also staying at the new concrete pontoon in a basin behind the Odyssey complex, and taking friends and family for short trips around the harbour and up and down the river. On one of these trips, the personnel on the weir had forgotten to inform me when we went through the night before that the outgoing Gate 4 was not going to be in use next day, and so we ended up bumping our keel on the top of the partially closed gate. Needless to say, the weir staff weren't very pleased about this. In 2001, when the Island Arts Centre was opened in Lisburn, that section of the canal was also restored, and the local Inland Waterways Association were invited to bring small boats along to celebrate the opening. We also own a 14-foot wooden dinghy, so I borrowed a boat trailer and arrived on opening day with my 79-year-old dad, my 3-year-old grandson, my wife Jerry, and another young friend. We launched the dinghy from a slipway, collected the rest of our crew at the canal basin, and after negotiating the lock and accepting the loan of a small outboard motor, headed downstream for a mile to the next weir and lock, which was still closed. On the way, I happened to remark to my dad that I bet he'd never been down the middle of the Lagan before. He agreed that he'd never done it in a boat. When I asked what he meant, he replied that he had travelled down the centre of the river before, but on a pushbike. We were a bit puzzled until he explained that one winter when he was young, the river had frozen over completely, and he and friends had cycled along the centre of the frozen river. It was as we were happily discussing this interesting anecdote that my little grandson mentioned that his feet were getting wet. We all looked down, and sure enough, the water was nearly over his shoes. On further investigation, I discovered that the bung was missing at the stern of the boat, and water was flowing in like a tap turned on full. We were in danger of sinking. My young friend started bailing out the water, and we headed upstream as fast as our 2-horsepower outboard could take us, yelling ahead to our friends as we approached the lock to keep the gate open for us. As my friend kept on bailing and we rose slowly in the lock, we managed to get my father, wife and grandson up the ladder to solid ground. As soon as the lock gates opened, my young friend and I headed across to the slipway, still bailing out as we went. That concluded our trip on the Lagan, but we did have a nice meal in the new centre afterwards. We have an expression here in case anyone thinks we might be stupid or gullible. You think I came up the Lagan in a bubble? We've been listening to Sarana VerLin from Michigan, USA, and a beautiful song, Kyrie.
It's a long way from the Isle of Skye to this Florida swamp where the whippoorwill cries like a heartbroken lover left alone. My blood cries out for its Scottish home, where for hundreds of years they fought and died for the little lords and their foolish pride. And every place a McKinney stood, cut the ground with a shovel, you can smell the blood. You cut the ground with a shovel, you can smell the blood. Long before the clearances came, they lost everything but the family name. Some stayed behind to fight the lords, but it was like a burr against horse and sword. Some took what they could and they sailed away to the Carolinas in America. And they left a trail to this Florida mud. Cut the ground with a shovel, you can smell the blood. You cut the ground with a shovel, you can smell the blood. But it's never as simple as we'd like it to be. So many bad branches on the family tree, but it survived the famine, stood against the flood. You cut through the roots, you can smell the blood. Cut through the roots, you can smell the blood. The McKinneys fought hard for the things they stole. They fought against the law and the Seminoles. They died with Dade in the piney wood. Cut the ground with a shovel, you can smell their blood. You cut the ground with a shovel, you can smell their blood. But it's never as pretty as we'd like it to be. But the poor never suffer from irony. They stayed alive any way they could. Cut the ground with a shovel, you can smell their blood. You cut the ground with a shovel, you can smell their blood. Cut the ground with a shovel, you can smell their blood.
That was Lucky Mud from Florida, USA, and a song called Smell the Blood. I'll leave you with a song from a band called Moonrakers in England, UK. This is Both Sides of the Tweed. See you all soon now. Slán.
What's the spring breathing jasmine and rose? What's the summer with all its gay train? Or the splendour of autumn's rose, who bartered their freedom for gain? Let the love of our land sacred ride, to the love of our people succeed. Let friendship and honour unite, and flourish on both sides of Tweed. The senses can cheer, which corruption and bribery bind. No brightness the gloom can e'er clear, for honour's the sum of the mind. Let the love of our land sacred ride, to the love of our people succeed. Let friendship and honour unite, and flourish on both sides between. Let virtue distinguish the brave, place riches in lowest degree. Think them poorest will be a slave, them richest who dare to be free. Let the love of our land sacred ride, to the love of our people succeed. Let friendship and honour unite, and flourish on both sides between. Let the love of our land sacred ride, to the love of our people succeed. Let friendship and honour unite, and flourish on both sides between.
Well, that's all we have time for on this show. Remember, you can find out more information about the artists and songs played on the show on our website at CelticRootsRadio.com. And if you're an independent artist and you'd like to hear your music played on this show, again, you'll find details on our website. That's CelticRootsRadio.com. Tune in again next week to Celtic Roots Radio. I'm Raymond McCullough, coming to you from Ireland. Slán agus Banagia.